Yeah.
I, I think I think it's fun. I think it's fun to judge by how we serve our most privileged because that's where the I don't know, that's where the Academy Awards live. I mean, right? I mean, when you sort of escalate up the basic hierarchy of needs to like things like, who am I as a soul in the universe? Let's talk about those things. Like that's just fun to talk about. Everyone loves talking about people who are doing well and doing amazing things. Um, I'm I'm going to pause right there. What I do think, though, is more is more a peek into sort of the actual morality of a culture is how the most vulnerable and struggling are treated. Though, like that's if you're thinking about creating an equal society and the work of equity, it's not about how you treat your most privileged populations. It's about how you treat your most vulnerable populations because those are the folks who quite often through nothing that they've done, just were born into a family that had already, through historical oppression in this country, not been given the proper resources and was already at a deficit, and is not set up to be successful in our educational system. Like we should be judging ourselves by how we treat that person, not those who are already primed for success. Um, that's just that to me. That's just easy. And that's the kind of stuff. It's like, oh, great, you should celebrate your successes, but like those are the kind of things that you would I expect people who come from comfortable, well-supported upbringings to be fairly successful, and when they are, I'm like, cool, you're doing as expected, and that's great, and congratulations. But where I think we should take some pride and like really look at ourselves if we're evaluating who we are as a people is, yeah, how we support our most vulnerable populations or those people who we think are falling through the cracks or who might not be successful. We don't have a great track record as a country when it comes to that. We tend to marginalize people and then make it incredibly difficult for marginalized people to then be successful. I don't think our scorecard looks great.
Mm.
And this is where I have problems. 'Cause I think education quite often celebrates it'll, especially this time of year as we're wrapping up the end of a calendar year where there are all these celebrations of like achievements and stuff. And quite often I'm like, this is great and I love it and it puts a smile on everybody's face, but it would be better, I think, if we focused on like what were our accomplishments with the food pantry, for example. Like I've heard a lot of time, I've spent a lot of time in meetings lately hearing about students who've won awards. I have not heard, about students who are getting food at the food pantry, and those aren't seemingly the things that people are taking pride in. Um, so yeah, that feels like sort of misplaced focus to me.